didn't realize that you were in INVSN until I saw you on stage, which I think is probably a pretty familiar thing that you're hearing.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I'm there, you walk out, I'm going, that's Daniel from Refused, and I kind of did my homework afterwards. I enjoyed the set, though. Like, I like that there were mixtures of kind of hardcore elements, but also some synthesizer action. It was a
lot
cool
of
mix.
Yeah.
Cool mix of music.
Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about the history of INVSN. I'm assuming that there are a lot of people with the same story. So how did you start it out?
We started, like me and the drummer and the guitar player started a power pop band years ago, just for fun. I wanted to play guitar and sing, and then we kept playing, and I mean, we've been playing together for 15 years. It's like, you know, one of those, you do Noise Conspiracy, you do Refused, and then we did that just for fun. And then a couple of years ago, we changed our name to INVSN, and then Sarah joined the band, and she used to be Noise Conspiracy with me years ago. And that's kind of when we started honing in our identity. And, you know, then we've done 2 records in English. We did 2 records in Swedish before that. So, and I mean, that's kind of the short history of the band. I mean, we've been friends for a very long time, just like, you know, the buddies you hang out with. And then we started very unpretentious, and it turned into what we have now, which is very pretentious.
Are there any unique challenges you can talk to recording in both Swedish and English? Do you find that the lyrics will work?
Yeah. It's the newest record we did only in English, but a lot of the songs were written in Swedish first. The record we did before this was both in Swedish and in English, and it was, for me as a singer and a lyricist, it was a complete pain in the ass, because it was like double duty. It was like you had to write good lyrics, and then you have to translate them to English and make them as good as possible, and then sing in 2 languages. It was a hard work. But I mean, English is not my first language.
Right.
It's Swedish. So whenever I write, when I started writing in Swedish, it was very much, I mean, it's much more connected to like the inner self. So writing in Swedish compared to English, definitely it gives it a different tone, I would say. And then you have to, I mean, the cool thing what I did now is I wrote songs in Swedish, and I did the English translation, but based on the Swedish ideas, and it made them very, very different than if I would have written them in English from the get-go.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, so it's like, it's a bit of a challenge, but I like a challenge. It's a good thing.
Some bands do really well singing, you know, in their native tongue, and then coming over to America and singing in English.
Yeah, there's been a couple of bands like that, but I think my biggest thing was that I've always sang in English, and I've always been like an international artist with all the bands I've had. And I think that most bands that do well in Swedish, they do it for a short period of time. Because I think without like that emotional connect that you get with words, it becomes like a cult phenomenon. I mean, I know a bunch of Swedish bands that did fairly well in the States for a short period of time. Because it was like, oh, this is so rad, and they sing in Swedish. But then when you can't relate to what people are singing about, it's hard to make that deep emotional connect, I think. So that's why we're like, well, let's do this band in English, because I think it's good enough.
Now, talk to me a little bit about North America and cracking this market. You're here. You obviously are interested in that.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you as a band? Do you have to? Are there any compromises you have to make? Are there any challenges other than the language that you've got to overcome?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I've been here a lot. I've been here so much that a couple of years ago they gave me like a 3-year worker's permit. They were like, just come here and play, because I've been touring the States so much. So for me, it's very culturally very different, but also very familiar because I've been here so much. And there are things that I think the thing that as a Swedish touring band is the trick is that Swedish people are very shy. We take a while to warm up to other bands when we're touring. So every time we come over and tour, the bands that we play with, always like the first 2 days, they're like, Swedish people, like, they're kind of dicks, like, what's up with them? And then once we actually kind of get, you know, relax and settle, it's fine. But that's like the biggest challenge. Americans are very embracing, which is nice. So we're not like that. We're a bit more reserved, Swedish people. Yeah.
Okay. You've released an album this year called The Beautiful Stories. Was that recorded in Europe, or did you come over here to do it?
It was recorded in Gothenburg, in a really nice studio, but with an American producer.
Okay.
A guy called Adam Greenspan out of LA. He worked on the last Refused record as an engineer, and we got along really well. And I asked him if he wanted to do this record, and he came over in a heartbeat, and we spent like 12 days recording everything. It's good.
Okay,
yeah.
You drove down here. You drove to Chicago on Thursday from Toronto, right?
No, we did Detroit on Thursday.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I drove here on Thursday, and if I had been in Toronto, that's where I'm from, I would have gone to that show at the Bovine. That is probably my favorite bar in the world.
That was fantastic. Like, it got changed in the last minute to the Bovine Sex Club.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was one of those small, intimate shows. It's just like, it was really good. Like,
how did you fit everything on stage? You had a lot of gear.
Yeah. I can't move around as much on the small stage. I mean, that's the only thing. But I like we're playing tonight on a small stage, and it's fun. It's like, it's a different energy to it.
Yeah. Can you tell me how? Well, I mean, you talked about Noise Conspiracy. Can you tell me how you met the other members of your band?
Of INVSN?
Yeah, of INVSN.
Well, Sarah, that plays bass, is my oldest friend. I was at her birthday party when she turned 5, and I was 7, and we've known each other since, and we were a couple for a long time. We played in Noise Conspiracy together, and she left, and I mean, we've just been friends for 40 years or something like that.
Okay.
And Andre and Anders, I mean, they're just people that were a part of like the hardcore scene in the 90s, and just friends. And I mean, when we did that power pop band, I'm like, Andre's a good drummer. He used to play in some hardcore bands, and they're just small town kids that play in a band. And Christina, the keyboard player, she's from the Sticks. She moved to Umeå like 8 years ago. We just started hanging around, and we became friends. And then one day she was like, I play the piano. I'm like, oh, do you want to be in a band? She's like, yeah. So, just they're my closest friends, I would say, like the people I hang out the most with.
How do you tend to write your material then? Is it a very collaborative procedure, or do you find your primary songwriter and orchestrator?
No, it's actually a drummer writes most of the music.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and if you listen, it's very percussive. A lot of the songs are kind of based on drum patterns and like drum ideas.
Right.
So he writes kind of the basic tracks, and then we add. I mean, he never does vocals. I'll add all the vocals and lyrics, and then everyone comes in with their input, and then at the end, I mean, in the practice space, it's very collaborative. But he writes most of the the foundations for the songs. He's like, how about these ideas? I'm like, oh yeah, that's rad. And I'm like, maybe that part should be the chorus, so switch it around a bit. And then, so it's a cool process. It's very, we write a lot of songs because we all kind of write, and then we just send demos back and forth. And then, this record, I think we wrote 32 songs.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of songs.
That's a double album, man.
I know. And we ended up recording 9. We're like, let's keep it tight.
Do you think you'll use any of those other songs? Or
maybe there's a couple of the songs that didn't make it that I think we can definitely circle back to. Yeah, we'll see.
Is there something that you feel that people might not know about your band that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I think, in all honesty, I think that people don't know about our band. I think that's kind of like the big thing that, in a world that's so saturated with music, it's really, I mean, even with the history that we have and the bands we've been in, it's hard to sort of break through the fucking, static of everything. So I think, I just think not that many people know about this band. And I think, just as we're talking, like, when people talk about us, they say it's Dennis' new project,
right?
But it's a band. It's a full-on, 100% democratic band. And it's not a project. I mean, we've been doing this for a couple of years, and it's definitely like a full-time band.
Right.
I think that's maybe the thing that,
Right. Yeah. I think with Refuse getting back together, and that obviously cut into the space between.
Yes, it did.
Your last album and this one.
Yeah, because this was like a thing way before Refused decided to play shows again.
Yeah,
We're like, okay, let's do Invasion. I'm like, I had to call the other guys. I'm like, this Refused thing is happening, and now I try to schedule it so like we're touring with Invasion for the next year, I would say, and we're recording with Refused and writing new material. Okay. So it's kind of like always busy sort of lifestyle that I got going. Yeah.
You jokingly hinted a bit about the political climate on stage yesterday, and with Trump here, Brexit over in Europe, and some of the friggin' weather action that we've been having lately, it kind of feels like the world's just falling apart on us.
Yeah.
How do you find that you gestate that and stay positive and turn that into like a creative outlet?
Yeah, how do you?
Right?
I would say, first of all, I'm an optimistic person. I believe in our sort of collective abilities to actually do good and take care of each other. I do believe in that. Sometimes you got to work hard on it, though, because, as you said, the world is like, there's like a right-wing rise all over the world, and it's like Nazis and alt-right or whatever they're called. It's like jokingly said, it's like you're making it too easy. It's like when we go up on stage, people are like, oh fuck. I mean, so it's quite easy, and it's a bit sad that I've been doing this for 20 plus years, writing political songs, and there's no like end in sight to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.